class. Get ready with your copy and notebook. You can see the board work, dear student. You will be really surprised what this thing our teacher has written on the board, because this is English second paper class. As you know, dear student, most of the students have a wrong idea or misperception that there is no scope to practice pronunciation in second paper, but it is possible. And today you will see I have selected some words from the second paper or from the topic I will discuss today. So you can see, look at the board. I'm going to start. The first word is AFFIR, Here you can see the short pronunciation, dear student. And you must remember, when you are pronouncing a word, you must try to divide it into syllable. You have to identify how many syllables are there in a word. And you have to remember one thing: if it is noun, put pressure on the first syllable, and if it is verb, put pressure on the second syllable. Most of the time, not for the all the time. Most of the time, you will find this rule available. And I uploaded a class on YouTube about pronunciation practice. You will get there some clear idea. You can take note from there. So here you can see I have divided the word into 1, 2, 3, 4 syllable here. Affirmative. The pronunciation should be, dear student, affirmative. And don't go anywhere, dear student. After this session, I will start my PowerPoint presentation. So please don't go anywhere. So you can see here, affirmative. This is the pronunciation. You have to put pressure on the second syllable here. Affirmative is a noun, and there are 4 syllables here. You have to put pressure on this word. Affirmative, 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 not affirmative. This should be affirmative. Next word you can see, Learning. Learning. What will be the pronunciation, dear student? You can see I have divided the word into 2 syllables. Learning. La. Put pressure on the first syllable. Learning. 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 This is a noun, dear student. As I have said, if it is a noun, then put pressure on the first syllable. And most of the time you will find it common when you will be able to divide the word into 2 syllables. Put pressure on the first syllable if it is noun. So you can see that. Learning. Put pressure on the first syllable. Learning. Stress is an important thing in pronunciation. So you must learn the rules of stress, and you must learn the rule of syllable. And it will really helpful for your pronunciation practice, or if you want to pronounce any word correctly in English language, you must follow these rules. Then you can see assertive, 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 assertive. What is the stress? S-U-S. You should know the rule. What is stress? That means that place you have to pronounce higher, longer, and larger. Here you can see assertive, assertive. There is no assertive. The pronunciation should be assertive. Here you can see if the sentence starts with A, it becomes A. Here you can see assertive, A. A becomes A. And this is a noun also. Dear student, next word is grammar, very common word, and the pronunciation should be grammar, grammar, grammar. Put pressure on the first syllable. Grammar, grammar. This is a noun, dear student. Let's move to the next word. This is a really common word. We use it in our day-to-day language. understand. Understand. There is no R. You can see understand. Understand. Put pressure on the last syllable. Understand. This is a verb. Put pressure on the last syllable. This is a very common word, student. You can see here, st, the short form, Stu, student, student. Stress means put pressure or pronounce higher, longer. Student. This is a noun. Then the topic we are learning here, Pronunciation. Pro, P-R-U-H, P-R-U-H, pronunciation, pronunciation. Put pressure on the last one, last syllable, A, pronunciation, Asian. And last word, it is a noun, and here you can see this is verb, pro, P-R-U-H, short form, pronouns, ounce. Put pressure on the last syllable. This is a verb. Pronouns, pronouns. Put pressure. Pronouns. Okay, dear student, I have completed the first session, that is about pronunciation, and you will be able to pronounce fluently or more smartly in English language if you follow the stress and syllables properly. And another thing you have to remember, there are no hard and fast rule of this pronunciation practice, but you should very often when you will find a new word and you will look a word in the dictionary, you must see the stress and syllable. Where is the stress? You must see, you have to see it, and if you can do that, yeah, obviously your pronunciation will be good. So dear student, today now I'm going to start our virtual session. Get ready with a notebook, because here you will learn so many rules, and I hope that you will enjoy the class. Dear student, get ready with your notebook as well as, here it is, you can see. Now I am going to start the session through sharing my screen. This is really a blessing of science. Because of this, I'll be able to send my laptop screen to your home or reading table. And thanks to Almighty Allah giving me the chance, and hope that you will also enjoy the class. Dear student, welcome to my virtual classroom. Here you can see my intro. Dear student, here is a content for you. Hope that you will watch the video very carefully, because as you know, we are going through a very hard time, a critical time, and we should follow some rules of health and hygiene. Here student, you can see, wet your hands, apply to wash, front to back interlocking, palm to palm interlocking. You must watch the video, because only one thing we can do now, that is only following the rules of health and hygiene. And you have seen only 20 seconds. Within 20 seconds, how can you wash your hand? Dear student, I'm going to the slide. Our today's topic is, I'm announcing the name to our today's topic, transformation of sentence, part 1, affirmative to negative. Hope that you will enjoy the session. And there are some learning outcomes of every single class. Here is the learning outcomes. After completing this lesson, you will be able to learn some rules of transformation, definition. Dear student, you can see today we will learn some rule of transformation affirmative to negative. This is the first sentence, dear student. I need a book only. Here you can see the answer. I need nothing but a book. Most of you know the rule, and I hope that you will be able to learn more rules of affirmative negative from this slide, as well as I have used some exceptional sentence. A brave man alone can do this. What will be the negative form, dear student? Here it is alone. Instead of alone, you have to use, let's see, none but a brave man can do this. This is the answer. So, dear student, you can see instead of only, we have used here nothing but, and as it is suggesting a book, it is an object. And here you can see we have used here none but, because it is suggesting a man. And you can see the difference here. I have used nothing but before the noun, and here also before the noun, none but. A brave man alone can do this, none but a brave man can do this. You should not write down a brave man, none but can do this. This is the wrong way. Here is the rule, dear student, you must take note. Sentences with only alone changes into none but or nothing but, not more than, not less than. Please write it down, dear student. I'm going to the next slide. Here you can see, you can help him doing the work. What will be the answer, dear student? Make it negative. I repeat, we are learning the rule affirmative to negative. You can help him doing the work. What will be the answer, dear student? You can write down the answer in two ways, following two rules. One is you cannot but help him doing the work. Instead of can, you have to write down cannot but, or you can write down cannot help plus verb plus ing. So here you can see I have written the answer in following two rules. One is you cannot but help him doing the work. Another is you cannot help helping him doing the work. That means instead of can, you can write down cannot but or cannot help. If you write down cannot help, you must put verb plus ing. Here you can see you cannot help helping him doing the work. There is another example. I have to take decision. What will be the negative form? As you know, if we use instead of have to, cannot but, then instead of had to, we have to use could not but. You can write it down following two rules. I could not but take the decision, or I could not help taking the decision. Here is student, here is the rule. Please write it down, make notes. Instead of must, have to, can, had to, you have to use cannot but or could not but. This is the rule, dear student. Please write it down. I'm going to the next slide. If you miss the part, then you can watch the video later on. He is really smart and handsome. He is really smart and handsome. What will be the answer, dear student? Let's see. He is really not only smart but also handsome. So what is the rule here, dear student? Here you can see and to add adjective has been added with and. So if you find this type of rule or both dot dot and, you must use not only but also. So the answer is really not only smart but also handsome. Here is another sentence, dear student. He ate eggs and vegetables. The pronunciation should be vegetables, not vegetables. What will be the answer, dear student? The question you can find it just like he ate both eggs and vegetables, or you can find he ate eggs and vegetables. But the sentence will be followed by same rule. He ate not only eggs but also vegetables. What is the rule here, dear student? Let's see. Please write it down. And if you find the sentence starts with and or both, it becomes not only dot dot but also when you are converting it into negative. Here is another slide for you, dear student. All hate him. What will be the answer in negative? Let's see. There is no one but hate him, or no one hate him. Here you can see, dear student, there is no s after all because all is plural here. But if you find everyone, then you must put s. All suggesting plural and every suggests singular. That's why I have used here. There is no one but hate him. There is no s, and no one hate him. No one. Oh, sorry, there is a mistake. There should be no one love him. The answer should be no one love him. Here you can see another sentence. Everyone cares for him. What will be the answer, dear student? You can write it down in two ways, following two rules. There is no one but cares for him, or nobody neglects him. You can use the opposite word. Instead of care, you have to write down neglect. So the answer is nobody neglects him. Just like I have mentioned here, no one love him. Not loves him because all is plural. No one love him. And here you can see nobody neglects him. You can see after everyone, I have used s or yes because it is considered as third person singular number. And here is the rule, dear student. Please write it down. Every becomes there is no dot dot but. In case of everybody, an affirmative sentence can also be changed into negative using nobody and opposite of the verb. As I have done with here, no one love him and nobody neglects him, or you can follow there is no one dot dot but. Both tools can be applied. Dear student, I am going to the next slide. I am always against of smoking. What will be the negative form, dear student? Here you can see instead of always, you have to use never and use head word. Against, it has been converted into in favor. That means against means you don't like it, and in favor means you are supporting this. I am never in favor of smoking, dear student. Another sentence is for you. I always mind it. What will be the negative form? You can write it down following two rules. I never, instead of always, put here never, forget it, or I never neglect it. That means you can use the opposite word instead of mind, forget or neglect. Here is the rule, dear student. Always in affirmative becomes never, use opposite word, and when you are converting it into negative, then use never and use opposite word. This is the rule, dear student. Here is another slide and another rule for you. I missed the train. What will be the answer? I could not catch the train, or I didn't catch the train. Here you can see, dear student, you can use could not. You can use didn't, or you can use could not. Could not also suggests past tense. So you can, when you are converting a sentence into negative, you can use could not as auxiliary verb, just like didn't. I didn't catch the train, or I could not catch the train. Both will be correct. He remembered the incident. You can see the verb is in past tense. He did not forget the incident. He did not forget the incident. Here is the rule, dear student. Many affirmative can be changed into negative by using negative word not and an opposite word of the verb. That means If you find a sentence there is no clue, just subject, verb, and object, use the negative form as well as head word or opposite word. Write down the opposite word of the head word. The poor are sometimes happy. Here you can see the poor are not always happy. If you find sometimes between the sentence, you must write down instead of sometimes, not always. So you can see here, sometimes has been converted into not always. The answer is the poor are not always happy. I have a few friends, very common sentence. Instead of a few, you should write down not many. So here you can see I have not many friends. Instead of a few, you must write down not many. Sometimes in affirmative becomes not always in negative, and a few becomes not many. That means sometimes has been converted into not always, and a few has been converted into not many. Here is another example. The sea is too large to cross it. The sea is too large to cross it. We are talking about an object. So you must not use subject, personal pronoun here. Here you can see the sea is so large. Instead of too, you have to use so, and instead of too, you have to use that. The sea is so large that it cannot be crossed. We cannot, you should not use we cannot be crossed. It cannot be crossed. Make it passive. The sea is so large that it cannot be crossed. So the rule is instead of two dot dot two, you must use so dot dot that, and second clause, you must write down the second clause in negative. Here is another one, another example. It was too heavy to carry. You can see the auxiliary verb is in past tense, so you must use could not but could not in the second clause. It was so heavy that it could not be carried. It was so heavy that it could not be carried. Here is the rule, dear student, please write it down. 2 dot dot 2 in affirmative becomes so dot dot that plus can or could according to tense, then verb plus extension. Here is another example, dear student. He is as careful as her mother. He is not less careful than his mother. He plays as good as Saqib. He does not play less good than Saqib. So here you can see instead of as, you should use not less when you are converting a sentence into negative, affirmative to negative, not less, and instead of second as, you should use then. He is not less careful than his mother. And another sentence here you can see he plays as good as Saqib. Make it a negative at first. There is no auxiliary verb, so you must take auxiliary verb as it is present tense, so take doesn't. He doesn't play less good than Saqib. There is another example for you. He performed his duty as perfect as you. He didn't perform his duty less perfect than you. Here is the rule, dear student. As plus adjective plus as in affirmative becomes not less plus adjective dot dot then in negative sentence. Dear student, here is another rule. As soon as he came, the students stood up. So as we know, instead of as soon as, we should use no sooner had dot dot then. So instead of as soon as, you must use no sooner had. Then another thing you must remember, after had, you must put third form of verb. Here is a correction. You should write down no sooner had he come, C-O-M-E. Here is an spelling mistake. Come, C-O-M-E. This should be come. No sooner had he come, then the students stood up. No sooner had he come. I repeat, there is a correction in this sentence. No sooner had he come, because after had you must put third form. Otherwise, it will be considered a wrong answer. No sooner had he come, then the student stood up. Here you can see, as soon as the TV channel broadcast the news, we rush to this spot. As we know, as soon as, most often it used as present indefinite, past indefinite tense. Both of the clauses are past indefinite tense. Here you can see, no sooner had the TV channel broadcast the news than we rushed to the spot. You can see here it is broadcast. You can write down, but in modern English we use broadcast, broadcast, broadcast. But if you want, you can write down broadcasted also be right one, correct one. So no sooner had the TV channel broadcast the news than we rushed to the spot. Why I have written here broadcast? Because you can write down the third form of this verb, broadcast, broadcast, broadcast. Present tense broadcast, past tense broadcast, and past participle form will be broadcast. Here is the rule, dear student. As soon as in affirmative becomes no sooner had than in negative. There are some exceptional. There is no hard and fast rule of these sentences. You can ask what is the rule. There is no fixed rule. You have to just remember and you have to practice this sentence. Where there is smoke, there is fire. What will be the answer, dear student? There can be no fire without smoke. That means I have used here there from the sentence, and then you have to use can be. But you can see past sentence is consisting auxiliary verb is, but there is no is in the second sentence or in the answer. So you have to take can be. That means there is a possibility it could be happen. There can be no fire without smoke. So you should use here can be, and we have also used here without. I have also used here without. So there can be no fire without smoke. There are two things are uncommon in this sentence. One is I have to take can be and without. You just remember this thing. Where there is a will, there is a way. There can be no way without will. There can be no way without will. Yeah, here you can see another exception. All must die. You can write it down following two rules. No one can escape death. None can avoid death. That means here instead of must, as we have learned before, instead of must we should use cannot but. But here you can see there is no cannot but we have used here none as well as can, and the word escape or avoid you have to use. None can escape death, and die has been converted into death. You can see none can avoid death. I come here for the last time. Here is another exceptional. Here it is, I will never come here again. There is no will in the first sentence, but here when I'm writing down the answer, then you can see there is will, and you should use never. Not you are not allowed to use not. Just write down never. I will never come here again. For the last time, for this clause I have used again. I will never come here again. Dear student, I have discussed most of the rules. Hope that you have learned, you have made note. If you have any query, you must put your comment in the comment box, and you have to submit this homework to my Facebook Messenger. I will check it, and I will check every single comment. If you have any query, if you have any question, please put your comment or put your question in the comment box. I will try to solve the answer. This is your homework. Here you can see vice versa, affirmative to negative as well as negative to affirmative. Complete the task and send it to my messenger. Thank you all for attending the session, dear student. Allah Hafiz. Last tomorrow,